The Glock pistol, designed in 1980. Very simple design, very easy to maintain, very easy to clean. It's one of the most popular polymer frame striker fire handguns in the world. I call it the AK-47 of the handgun world. So today we're going to take a look at the Otis 8-in-1 Glock T-tool. This is a very compact tool that has all the different elements you need to maintain, to repair, to clean your Glock pistol. No matter what caliber, no matter what generation. And also, we're going to take a look at their Glock magazine disassembly tool. And guys, if you've disassembled Glock magazines, it can be a real chore. But this makes it super easy. And what I love about this is it's polymer, so it doesn't tear up your base pads. Now, Otis Technologies sent these tools, and we really appreciate their sponsorship. Well, the Otis Technologies 8-in-1 T-tool. It's very compact, has a number of different options on here. We're going to look at it, but I love that it's just small and everything is in one place and it's sturdy. And I've got some other comparisons of some tools that I've been using for a long time and why I really prefer the T-tool. They do make a T-tool version that's more standard, but this one is specifically made for Glock. And then also we have the magazine disassembly tool. And we're going to talk about some reasons why I like this over using just a punch or other type tools that are like this. Of course, first thing is the gun is already open, it's empty, and of course the magazine's empty. But to get things started, we're going to use the disassembly tool. This is so simple. Now listen guys, I've been using punches and going in and pulling this off. And you've really got to get a good grip on it to pull this off. But one of the problems is typically using a metal punch in polymer. And it does wear on this little circle that is your retainer plate for your base pad. And so that's one thing about just pulling these and using that force. It's doable. I've done it for years, but I quickly decided to switch to a better option, especially when I'm going to the range and I've got 6 or 7 mags. And not only do I have 9mm, I've got 40, I've got 10, I've got my 42s, I've got all these different mags, and I'm gonna tear them up using this tool over time. Now on the base pad, you'll notice this little circle, and this is your retainer pin. And so we take the tool and we place it down in there and just deactivate that, and then just put leverage on the body of the magazine. And keep your thumb over here so it doesn't blow these springs out. And there goes your retainer pad, and that's that little nub. And then, of course, you can take these out and you can clean them. Keeping your magazines clean, I don't do it all the time, but it's really good because the magazine is one of those parts that really has a lot to do with reliability of your gun. So we're going to put this back in, and then, just put your base plate right back over it. You just have to get over these little tabs right here. But it's a lot easier to put on than it is to take off. But what I love though, again, is that this is polymer. Here are some of my other options that I've had, and they're metal. And they're gonna wear on this little hole where your retainer pin comes through. And yeah, you can do this for a while, but after a while, it does wear on the polymer. So guys, again, this is just such a very simple option. So guys, when it comes to the 8-in-1 T-tool, it's just so compact, it's very sturdy, it has a little bit of heft to it, which you're going to need for a couple of the operations. But one thing it has up front is your 1/4-inch bit driver. It's right here, and you can utilize any kind of bits that are 1/4-inch. Then we have a small thread insert, and this is 8x32, which this will accept your cleaning rods or different elements. So this is a great option as well. And we have this slot. Now this is for your memory flex cable slot, and that's one of the things that Otis is really known for, and we're going to demonstrate that. And this just gives you a T-handle to be able to put that cable through. And then here at the end, we have an impact area. And so if you need to tap in your pins, you've got a way to do it. And so just on the outside of the tool, you have a number of different functions. Then we have here a sight tool, and we can just pull that through. And this is magnetic. That is a big deal because if you've changed out your Glock sights with a regular sight tool, they're not magnetic. And when you're hitting that screw, it falls out. It's difficult to keep it on task. And so this makes it a lot more simple. In fact, I'm just going to show you here is a front sight with the screw. And so I just set it in there, and it's going to retain it. And so no matter what direction I'm in, it's going to retain that screw. Then it makes it really simple to be able just to turn it and to bring it out. And then when I'm finished, I can just pull it right out. But this to me is worth the tool by itself, because this one, it's sitting in here and it's great, but you know, any little knock, it just gets off and it falls off. And when you're under your slide trying to get to it, it is a pain in the butt. And when you're done, it's really easy just to slip it right into place. Now we have our punch on the other side, and this is going to be able to get all of your different pins out, put it right in the bit driver, go in, push it through, and again, this gives you a little bit of weight and a good grip to be able to push those through. And then goes right back into its slot. And then here on the other side, we have a standard Phillips head 1/4 inch bit, and so we can put that in there as well. Not that that's used on your Glock pistol, but you know, it is a handy tool to have. And then also we have a flathead. And so you've got two options here for other means. Now we have a Glock 47. We're going to go ahead and disassemble it. Make sure first that it is unloaded. Point it in a safe direction. Pull the trigger. Pull back on your slide about 1/8 of an inch and pull down on your takedown tabs. And then the slide just goes forward. Then we have our recoil spring and guide rod. It is captive. And then we have our barrel. We do have one of the Glock performance triggers that has been installed in this one. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to pull out my sight tool, because I just want to demonstrate how this works, even though I'm not going to pull my front sight off. Here on the 47, there is a hole that you can push this through, but usually there's not this coming out the front on a lot of models. And down inside right here is that small little nut that's holding in your front sight. And so we just bring this and we just line it up to the sight. Once we get it into place, then we can just take the sight off. So I can just unscrew it and I pull this out. It's going to be retained on the end of this magnetic piece. And so that's just a huge plus in itself. When it comes to the punch, you can take and pull down on your striker, and this is going to relieve the tension on your base plate, just like that. And then you can remove your striker assembly. And you need a punch for that and your extractor. Then we have our firing pin safety plunger with a spring, and we have our extractor. Honestly, the Glock is so simple, it's so easy to use, but you do need a punch for certain operations. Now I went ahead and reinstalled the other parts, but when you're reassembling, you don't need any tools until you get to replacing the back plate. So first thing I want to do is depress my striker assembly and get that back plate started, just like that. And now we have our extractor plunger, and it needs to be depressed. And then we snap it into place. And so those are the operations that you need a punch for, just for your slide assembly. Then it comes to the frame. You have 2 pins on the Gen 5, you have 3 pins on the Gen 4 and Gen 3, and this will work on all the different Glock models. I like to use a bench block, and so first thing I'm going to do is just to push this pin right here out. So it'll pop out using my punch, and then we want to take out the locking block, and it takes a punch as well. This is your trigger housing retaining pin, so we're just going to want to push it through as well. Very simple. And this allows you to pull out your trigger assembly and your ambidextrous slide stop. You can also use the punch to depress the spring to release your takedown levers. I'm just not going to do that because that's something you typically don't do a lot. But overall, guys, it's just a very simple firearm, and so it doesn't really take a lot to be able to disassemble, but obviously the punch is number one. Now for reassembly, we're going to put back in our trigger housing. Then we're going to put back in our ambidextrous slide stops. Also need to reinsert my locking block. First, you want to insert the trigger housing pin, retainer pin. Now it's pretty much easy to put through, but you want to make sure that it's even. And that's where I take a punch and I put it to its side. And then you want to make sure that both sides are equal. Just take your locking block pin, put it into place. Sometimes it will not go in. Now you can use a hammer with this, but this tool is made in case you don't have everything you need. You're able to use what you have. That way I can get this pin in. You want to even it out, so we need to just a little bit more. But this is where the punch comes in handy. Again, you have this impact or the little hammer. And instead of having a hammer and a bunch of punches, you've got everything right here where you need it. Now this 8x30 threaded insert. I can take my standard gun cleaning rod, and this is also from Otis. Of course, I can place different attachments on here to be able to clean my barrel. That way I've got my handle so I can push that rod through. I mean, that is awesome. One thing that Otis is known for is their memory flex cable. And these are used by the U.S. military. This is standard issue for the small little cleaning kits, just like this. These are great and they're very handy to use. But you can take this little slot on your T-tool, push it down in, and the brass catches right here. Insert a cleaning patch through the slot. Now I can run the patch through, lock it onto my T-handle, and then just pull it through. And this gives it the leverage you need, and I mean, it makes it so easy. So really, you could take this and put it together, and that would be a great option. So with this tool, you can do pretty much any operation you need to, and then it even expands out from that. Now I'm not going to leave you hanging. We're going to reassemble the Glock barrel first, then your recoil spring and guide rod. Bring it over your frame, and test for function. So the Glock magazine disassembly tool retails for $10.69. You can get that cheaper on a lot of online retail sources. And then we have the 8-in-1 T-tool for Glock. This retails for $21.99. And again, there's a lot of places that carry these. You can get a bundle for both for $24.99. So I think that's a great price as well. And you can keep this together with your range bag, and it gives you options to be able to do whatever you need to your Glock pistol. Guys, your Glock pistol is simple to maintain, simple to clean, simple to disassembly. If you ever need to change out parts, you can do it. But taking the Otis tools that just accompany this pistol, it just makes life a lot easier for the Glock owners. Can you do it without it? Sure, but this just makes life a lot more simple. And again, we really appreciate Otis for sending these tools for the review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. One of the all-time favorite. It's a very compact tool. All the little features. We're gonna put all the little features in here. Little feature. This just keeps all the tools you need just in one small package, in two small packages. Just insert the little nub, deactivates that. Oops. Then back here at the back, you want to take out your. Add that with your Glock disassembly tool.